Many of us may want to make ourselves believe that drugs are not part of our reality. But guess what? Drugs are everywhere. They're in our communities, they're in our houses, they're in our schools, they're in our churches. They could even be in your child's bag. Are you able to identify them when you see them? Or just like me, you can't? This is why today, as Pulling the Plug, we have invited Detective Constable Gondora from CID Drugs and Narcotics to educate us on this matter and to better equip us to fight this menace. Welcome to the program, Detective Gondora.
Welcome, Sister Tatenda.
Thank you. So we want to get into this issue of drugs and how it's affecting the youth in our country. So please, may you take us through some of the commonly used drugs that are being taken currently.
Thank you. Before I get into identify the commonly abused drugs in Zimbabwe, let me first and foremost define what a drug is. A drug is any substance which, when administered in human body, it alters its behavior.
Okay.
Yeah. Or in medicine, they define a drug, any substance which has the ability to cure any disease.
Okay.
So here in Zimbabwe, we have commonly abused drugs in Zimbabwe. Let me start with the DACA.
Okay.
Marijuana, mbanje. Its scientific name is cannabis sativa.
Okay.
It's one of the dangerous drugs which is being abused in Zimbabwe. The other drug is crystal meth, mutoriro, guka, dombo, CR7. They name it with various names to evade detection with the police. This crystal meth is a synthetic drug which is chemically made in laboratories, backyard laboratories, with various chemical substances which are very dangerous to our body, like battery acid, drainage, any dirty substance.
Okay.
And the youth, this drug is being inhaled. They take it through inhaling. We have got another drug which is ecstasy tablets.
Okay.
These ecstasy tablets are used commonly in vuzu parties, where children went to the parties. They take that tablet in drink or water. The fun part of this drug, the water does not change in taste. The water taste will remain the same. It just dissolves in water. And these tablets are found in different shapes and forms.
Okay.
The ecstasy tablets.
Okay.
They are dangerous. The kids may be placed in drink or water. At the end of the day, they will become high.
Okay.
With this drug. We have got another drug which is cocaine. Cocaine, which is smuggled from America. This drug, it is a residue from it is extracted from a plant, opium poppy plant, which is found in West America.
Okay.
And this plant is used also to make certain medicinal drugs, such as morphine, pethidine. So the residue of this drug, the residue of when they produced the morphine, they now took that powder. It is in powder form. Okay. They sniff this drug. We've got another drug, heroin. Heroin is also smuggled from other countries in West America. We have also pepper stems, lysergic acid diethylamide. They are impregnated with a drug, and once you are stamped on your skin, by the time you sweat, the drug will get into your body and you become high.
Okay.
Yeah. We've got some medicinal drugs which are subject to abuse, such as diazepam. They take it and abuse it. And we do have a variety of unregistered medicines, which are being smuggled from other countries. You know, for us to have a drug so that it is used in Zimbabwe, it must be registered with the Medical Control Authority of Zimbabwe.
Okay. So maybe before you get more into that, just to take you back slightly a bit on some of the drugs that you talked about. I mean, I want to especially talk about the one, ecstasy, the one you said is commonly found at Vuzu parties and all of that. You know, we have a parent who is watching this right now, who
Yes.
has a child who probably attends these parties and they're unaware of what even happens at these parties, right? So then how do we know that? I think, you know, when my child was at this place, this is what they then encountered. They maybe took the certain drug or what. How can we know that as parents?
That's why assisting parents, for them, assisting them with this drug identification. These tablets, which, as I have mentioned earlier, they are found in different colors, different shapes. So, the duty of the parent now to search the search of our kids, the bags of our kids, or even in their bedrooms. If you just find at any tablet, which you do not know, you just bring the tablet to CID offices. We work hand in hand with the forensic department. They just test what the tablet is. And at the end of the day, we will save the child.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's useful information. So back to the registered drugs that you were talking about. So how then do we know that this drug that is in the country is actually registered as citizens? How do we know that?
All our drugs, if I have said earlier, they are registered through the Medical Control Authority of Zimbabwe. So they endorse registered medicines here in Zimbabwe. So any drug which we use here, it goes through that process. So these drugs which I say they are not registered in Zimbabwe, they are just smuggled from outside the country. For example, we've got Bronclear, we've got Salterpen, we have codeine, but the codeine which you are talking of is not the general codeine which we see in pharmacy. Codeine for flu, no. There is this benylin with the codeine which is in a red container. It is smuggled from outside the country. And the reason why these medicines are not registered in Zimbabwe, the amount of codeine in this substance is not recommended here in Zimbabwe. It's more than what we require in Zimbabwe. So they are not registered medicines in Zimbabwe.
Okay. So when we see that, you said it's a red bottle?
Yes.
A red bottle.
It's a red, it's a red, placed in red cardboard box. Most of some of the benylin, they are in blue containers, green containers, benylin for flu and benylin for what. This is written benylin with codeine.
Okay, benylin with codeine. Okay,
Yes.
Thank you so much for that information.
Yes.
Are there any other drugs that are being commonly used that may not be drugs per se, but you also mentioned substances in the beginning that we may need to be on the lookout for?
Yeah, definitely. We do have a variety of unregistered medicines. We do have a variety of substances which are being abused here in Zimbabwe. We have got skin lightening products. These skin lightening products, they are not also registered in Zimbabwe because they contain what you call hydroquinone, which is more than what we require here in Zimbabwe. The reason why these medicines are not registered, they clear the upper top of our skin, thereby allowing diseases and a variety of diseases to get through our body. So these skin lightening products, they are not allowed here in Zimbabwe. We've got also sex enhancers, like the Congo dust, the 7 hours. There are a variety of these sex enhancers they are not registered and they are not allowed here in Zimbabwe. Body enlargement products also, they are not allowed here in Zimbabwe. Okay. So we have got a variety of substances which are not registered, which are not allowed here in Zimbabwe. And there is also illicit brews, tumbra. They are not allowed here in Zimbabwe. They contain a lot of alcohol, which is not required by the standard of our lawmaking citizens. So these illicit brews, they are pegged at the backyards and sold at a variety of places on markets and so on, but they are not allowed here in Zimbabwe.
Thank you so much, Detective Constable Gondora, with the information that you've shared with us so far. So my question is, how then do we identify drug activity in our community? Because we have, like we were saying earlier on, some people may not even be aware that in their backyards, there's some drug activity that is going on. So how do we identify drug activity in our communities?
Thank you, Tatenda. Let me give example of that of crystal meth, which is mtoriro. It disturbs the sleeping pattern. If one takes mtoriro, it can spend 3 days without sleeping. At the end of the day, you see those guys walking down the street during the night. And also the criminal activities. A number of criminal offenses will rise, will be at an increase if an area is subject to drug abuse. A child he changes behavior. He becomes violent, demanding love from the parents. It's an indication that that child is taking drugs. And if I've said criminal cases will be increase in the community, that is the negative impact. And physically, on an individual, one becomes mad, and there's also need for counseling, or at the end of the day, or refer the guy to rehab due to this drug and substance abuse. Loss of weight. There's various things, various indications which indicates that this person is in drug abuse. So loss of weight, become violent to parents, finally death. They can cause death, these drugs.
Yeah, thank you so much for enlightening us on that, and for mentioning as well the harmful effects of what drugs can do to us. So thank you once again, Detective Constable Gondora, for gracing us on our program and for sharing with us valuable information that will help us to fight against this drug menace that is ravaging our country. So thank you so much for being part of this segment. Join us for the next segment with Tsitsi Mashinga, as she's going to touch on what we can do together with law enforcement in order for us to fight this drug menace in this country.
Welcome back. Thank you, Tatenda, for shedding more light on the issues of drug abuse and that drugs are actually among us. I am your host, Tsitsi Mashinga, and we're entering into the Todi segment. With me is Detective Chief Inspector Mutasa. Welcome.
Thank you, Tsitsi.
Now that the reality has been painted, I think the main question now is, what is the mandate of the ZRP in the face of this drug menace?
Thank you, Tsitsi. As you are aware, we, as the police, we've got a constitutional mandate of maintaining law and order in the country. And one of the components of the responsibility under that mandate is to ensure that there is peace and security in the country. So, as the ZRP, we've got a mandate as well of detecting and investigating crime. And as for the drug issue, we are mandated to ensure that there are no drugs in the country And the organization has got a section which I belong to, which specifically looks at drug cases.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Now, since you have highlighted that it is your mandate to make sure that we live in a drug-free Zimbabwe, what are some of the challenges that you're facing in achieving this goal?
I cannot say we are facing challenges in achieving this goal. I think you are aware that previously the issue of drugs in the country was not very common. There were very few cases of drugs in our communities. But of late, there's been an increase in the use and abuse of drugs, especially by the youth. So this means that our work has increased. We need to work and ensure that we reduce the problems that are being brought by the use and abuse of drugs by the youth in the society.
Thank you, Detective Matasa. What has been the situation on the ground?
Thank you, Tsitsi. As you are aware from the speeches that have been given by the President, it shows that the issue of drug and substance abuse has become a national crisis. There are a lot of reports that are coming of drug abuse and substance use, especially among the youth. As for now, from the statistics that we have, we are seeing an increase in the number of people that are being arrested for breaching the laws that relate to drugs in one way or the other.
How can I and the community assist and complement your mandate in creating a drug-free Zimbabwe?
There are a lot of things that you can do to help us. There's been a very bad belief among the populace that it's the duty of the police to handle issues that relate to drugs and substance abuse and all other crimes alone. The community and all other citizens need to participate so that we ensure that the issue of drugs and substance abuse is contained. For example, as an organization, we have got a lot of activities that we do that require even the participation of all the citizens or community members. For example, besides enforcing the laws, that is arresting, detecting and investigating cases relating to drugs and substances, we also carry out a public education in the form of crime awareness campaigns, which specifically looking at drug and substance abuse. So we expect people or citizens or community members to participate and even take heed from the information that will be disseminating through the campaigns. We also have other platforms, for example, that we can share information about drugs. Because the situation of drugs is that drugs are being abused or are being used in the communities there, and the police cannot be everywhere. They cannot know what is happening in every household, but people in the community know what is happening among themselves, especially in neighbors. So we encourage people to share information on drug and substance abuse or even any other crimes through suggestion boxes. We also have a WhatsApp line that can be that where people can share information anonymously. People can even come if they are really concerned about what is happening. They can even come up front and share the information with us so that we take action.
Thank you very much, Detective. Do you have anything you'd like to say to our audience concerning this whole matter?
Yes, Tsitsi.
Yeah.
The issue of drug and substance abuse is not an individual issue. These drugs are affecting everyone, even those who are not using drugs. I can say if you have got a family member who is abusing or using drugs or substances, it's a situation that can bring a lot of stress and problems to the family besides the person who is abusing those drugs. For example, if a person gets to an addiction level, that person needs treatment, he needs care, and all this, that burden will be on family members, even the members of the society. So what I can say is that let's all fight together the issue of drug and substance abuse. Let's all stand up and do something so that we can help each other to preserve our future, especially the lives of the youth who are out of ignorance, trying and experimenting on these dangerous drugs and substances.
Tell me more about your outreach programs concerning drugs.
Thank you, Tsitsi. As you are aware that our mandate is of enforcing drug-related laws. Of late, we have realized that the cases of drugs are rising, are increasing, and we have adopted another strategy of educating the public about the effects of drugs, so that maybe through sharing information, they may realize the bad effects of using drugs. As an organization, we are also working with other stakeholders in the community. For example, we are working with other government departments and churches to share information about the effects of drug and substance abuse.
As you have heard what the detective has said, you and I have a part to play. Thank you very much for joining us on our Bluffhill SDA Facebook page and YouTube channel. Meet you again as we help you rewire your destiny.